Dance to the birthday song. Get out your seat and move to the birthday groove. It's your birthday season. Time to turn up. Let that be the reason you get enough. That you celebrate your time to shine. Your birthday, it's party time. Shout out your sign. Time to turn up. It's that time you get enough to celebrate your time to shine. Your birthday, it's party time. It's your birthday season all month long. Go out and tell the DJ to play your song. Have a party dance to the Tootsie Roll. Take a trip to the beach or somewhere cold. Have your cake and eat it with ice cream. Throw a big old feast like a king and queen. You're a VIP at any age, young or old. Get up and celebrate. It's your birthday season. Time to turn up. Let that be the reason you get enough. That you celebrate your time to shine. Your birthday, it's party time. Shout out your sign. Time to turn up. It's that time you get enough to celebrate your time to shine. Your birthday, it's party time. It's your birthday season, finally here. Thanking God every day for another year. You could have a white party, return of the Mac, or have a red party, bringing sexy back. Whatever you do, make sure you have a ball. You are one in a million, really one out of all. A real one, unique, top tier, no less. In your birthday season, it's a birthday fest. It's your birthday season. Time to turn up. Let that be the reason you get enough. That you celebrate your time to shine. Your birthday, it's party time. Shout out your sign. Time to turn up. It's that time you get enough to celebrate your time to shine. Your birthday, it's party time. Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces, Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo to Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, back to Capricorn and Aquarius. It's your birthday season. It's your birthday season. Time to turn up. Let that be the reason you get enough. That you celebrate your time to shine. Your birthday, it's party time. Shout out your sign. Time to turn up. It's that time you get enough to celebrate your time to shine. Your birthday, it's party time. All season long. Dance to the birthday song. Get out your seat and move to the birthday group. Hello and welcome to Kelly's Wordy Reactions. So just a second here. I want to fix something real quick. Just a second. I don't think I see anybody in here yet. I just want to make sure all of my settings are set properly for the video. Let's see. I think they are. Or I think I've done it all. Okay, great. Okay, so let me just jump back over. Uh-oh. Nope, that's not right. I want to get into, I want to get into the video on my phone is what I'm trying to do. Okay, I don't know. Maybe I'll see it in a minute.
All right, but anyway, thank you so much for stopping by whenever you see the video, whether it be on the replay or if you happen to see it this morning and jump in. Feel free to get into the chat and let's talk about this case. Okay, so the reason I wanted to come on today is so I could talk about the case where I was um, summoned to jury duty. So let's go ahead and start talking about it. I don't know why. Let me see. I thought I was supposed to. Maybe not. Maybe I have to pick a different layout. Let me pick a different layout real quick. Okay. I'll stay with this layout. Okay. All right. So this discussion is going to be about the case where I was summoned to jury duty. And so I had to go to jury duty about 2 weeks ago, I would say. And then the case actually went to trial last week, and everything was done within a week. So they actually went all the way through the trial, and he was sentenced, which a lot of trials we hear about, I feel like they don't really happen that fast. But we went all the way through the trial, or he had his trial, put it like that. He had his trial, went all the way through, and sentencing was sometime during that week. So it was all said and done within 1 week. Okay, so I will give you the spoiler alert and let you know that unfortunately I was not picked for the jury. And I was kind of hoping that I might be picked for the jury. If I had been picked, I wasn't going to be mad at it because I have never been to jury duty. I have had jury summons before, but I always took my way out. I had children that were within the age range where you could take your exemption. So you don't have to, say that you're exempt. But if you have like school age kids or smaller children, where you can opt out because you may have to pick them up from school, or things may happen and you would need to go pick somebody up. I mean, you can't do anything when you're on a jury except for be in the jury. So you can take your exemption. Hello, if you're just coming in. We're talking about my jury duty experience this morning and about the case. So, like I was saying, in the past, I've always opted out. And so this time I was like, you know what? I will say, let me tell the truth. I will say, I looked at all the exemptions, I looked for a way out, but I didn't really have one. So I said, let me go ahead and go. Maybe they, won't pick me. But as it kind of started getting closer to the time, I started thinking, you know what? It might not be bad because, I do participate. Good morning, Sunshine. Good morning, Zen Soul. Thank y'all for stopping by. So I'm finally getting here with this jury duty, story. So yeah, so I started thinking, oh yeah, thank you. I like that picture too. I wish this was my living room. I wish I had these built-ins and stuff. I do have a picture that's very similar. I think that's what drew me to this background, because I have a picture that's very similar to this picture in the background. But yeah, I started thinking, you know what? It wouldn't be so bad to actually be picked for the jury and actually see how everything goes. So I go to jury duty, and being that I've never been when I was summoned, I I was very surprised. So this is for a small county in Texas, Ellis County. And so I don't really know what to expect. So I get there and there were all these people. Now, normally this would be at a courthouse, and this community civic center, I think is what it was held in, has been, I don't know, sworn in as an official court. And I think they did that during COVID times or something like that. Or it was done because they are building and working on the old courthouse. So they're using this civic center, community center building, and they've made it official, like an official courthouse. So they did let us know that. So that was why it seemed like, gosh, there's so many people. If I had just been downtown, maybe it wouldn't have seemed that way, because I wouldn't have been able to tell. But everybody who was there pretty much was there to be for jury duty. So got there, it was like, I thought it was going to be no parking. It was so many people. So went ahead and went in, or got in line to go in, found a parking space rather. Went in, there was a line, or went up to the building, there was this line. You, of course, you had to be, whatever it is, the metal detectors, the sheriffs and everything were up there with the metal detectors. They wand you down. They looked through your purse. And as I was, they were, had the table where they're looking through your purse. I was thinking, why did I bring this purse in? I don't know. I had some snacks and stuff, and I just was like, well, I can, I should be able to take my purse. And then when the man was looking at my purse, I was like, oh, this is so embarrassing. I have, lashes in my purse. I don't know, a whole bunch of lip glosses and eyeliners. And I was, my snack bags. And I was like, why did I bring this purse in? So anyway, it was pretty painless. It didn't take too long. So then, you're still standing in the line. It's moving a little bit slow. Finally get up there, and they, kind of check you in, tell you which room to go in. So there were 2 large conference rooms, I guess they're not conference rooms. They're like these huge, courtrooms. So, so I went into one of them, and then later on, I decided to count the chairs, like not individually, but by rows and columns. And I counted basically around 600 seats that seemed full when I first walked in. But later on, I heard a lady that was working there say that 412 people had showed up. So I was like, wow, I guess this is going to be a whole lot of juries that they're picking for. Anyway, so that was not the case. So let me look at the chat real quick. Okay, we've got Sunshine is in. So, okay. So again, thank y'all for coming in and getting in the chat this morning. All right. So when we got in there and sat down and waited, it really didn't have to wait that long. It started at 8. There were all these people to get checked in, and then they basically started talking to us at 9 o'clock. So there was one judge, and he kind of stood there and, did the talking around, icebreaker type thing. And then there was a judge who was retiring. So when she walked in, he wanted all of us to stand up and give her a hand clap, or on cue, he wanted us to do that. So I don't know, 2 or 3 minutes after 9, She walked in with some other judges, and then he started to basically talk about her and her career. And he said whatever the word was, he said. And so, he said, "All rise." And so everybody stood up, and then we gave her a nice round of applause. And she came up to the podium and said that she thanked everybody and said she knew something was going on because everybody had been kind of escorting her around all day, some of the sheriffs or whatever. So she was thankful that they gave her recognition and everything. And so next they started talking to us about how the day was going to kind of proceed, and the disqualifiers and the exemptions. So they talked about everything that could basically disqualify you from being able to be on a jury. So they talked about all of those, that list, and they said, if you think that you fit into any one of these categories, come up here, make a line down, the center, basically right there. They had maybe like 3 or 4 tables with judges, and you were to go up there, tell them your situation, and they were to let you know if you were disqualified, and then you'd be able to leave. So people came up, lined up, and of course some of the disqualifiers are it's a criminal record, but it has some distinctions to it. I guess if you are like an actual felon, maybe I don't remember what the distinctions were, but if you didn't live in the county, so maybe they sent you your jury summons, but you're in the process of moving and you can't really say you live in the county anymore. So that's something else that would disqualify you, and they would need to know about that because they really only want the jury. They really only want the jury to live in the county. Sunshine says sound like extras for a movie. Yes, that's absolutely what it felt like. I was like, all these people, it's really funny, but I'm getting to that. So they disqualified the people as they came up there. Some people sat back down. They just wanted to make sure that they, weren't in the number. I can't really remember, excuse me, the whole list, but it was a, decent list, maybe 5 to 8 things that would disqualify you. Then after they cleared those people out, they asked people to come up who were exempt. And they said, you can leave, you can take your exemption. So basically, if you want to take your exemption, come up here. So I remember one of the exemptions was you're 75 or older. You don't have to leave, but if you're 75 or older and you want to take your exemption, then, go right ahead, come up, let us know, and you can take your exemption. Probably the young children thing. If you're a teacher, if you're a student, and if you can't just be a teacher, you have to be a teacher where you don't really have substitutes like that. It's hard for you to get a substitute for your class. It is, December. So they were taking into consideration things like final exams, and this would be a really inopportune time for you to actually be away from your class. So you could take your exemption. Student can always take their exemption. You're in college, you got, you paid your money. You need to do what you signed up to do. So you can take that exemption. So asked all those people to come up, they can leave. Good morning. I said what I said. Hey, I enjoyed being on your platform last night. and then after I got off, I was like, you know what? I really get passionate about things that I'm passionate about. I mean, a lot of times most people just think, oh, you're so calm and laid back. But then when it's something I'm really like passionate about, then I might come off a little aggressive. So I was like, I hope I didn't come off too aggressive. And then I was so tired I went to sleep. So I hope I didn't make Mr. Lee feel bad, because I know a lot of ladies appreciate just being able to hear his, perspective, and we don't always get men up talking like we'd like to. So I'll be sure to come another day and make sure he didn't feel attacked. Let's see. Zen Soul says, in Florida, you're set. I need my reading glasses on, y'all. You're sent a preliminary questionnaire. I was able to be dismissed because of hardship due to self-employed. Yes. I don't remember. I guess there's a number on there. I feel like, I don't know if I saw a questionnaire. I think in the past I've called the number and gave my exemption about children over the phone or something of that nature. But this time I just it could have been a questionnaire that I could have sent back in. I just kind of looked at the list and was like, you know what? I just don't really qualify this time. So I'm going to go ahead and go. Okay. Yes, I said what I said. Has a lovely channel, and it was a good conversation. I did not come in early. I came in on the very tail end of the conversation. So, but yes, y'all go check out I Said What I Said's channel. So anyway, I forget where I was, but so at the exemptions, and then after the exemptions, there was a break. So there was about, I don't know, 15-minute or maybe even a 30-minute break, which is kind of surprising. It seemed like a long time, but I think we needed it because there's always a nice women's restroom. Then, of course, you could get water. They had snacks for sale. It is coming down outside. So, yeah, they had snacks. So it was a pretty nice long break, whether it was 15 or 30 minutes, it felt really long. And then, went ahead and went back in. And then it was time to basically wait until they called your number. So you have this number on your, what did they give us? Was it a name tag? So yeah, there was like a card or a name tag. I can't even remember anymore. So the number on there, they started calling the numbers. And if they called your number, you went up to the front of the room and lined up. So I didn't know whether it was good or bad. I didn't know if it was like, we call your number and then we're going to ask all y'all to leave, or we call y'all number, we're going to ask all y'all to stay and go. But it was obvious that we were going to leave out and go to some other area. So I got called up, and then they come around and make sure they have everybody that they called up there. And then they lead us out and take us to another large room. But it was smaller, but it was, still a large enough room for all of us to fit in there into a seat. They wanted you to sit on the chair with your number. It's very, very organized. I could tell some people had been there before, because when they were calling us up by number, people were they were looking at your number, like looking at you, looking at your number, trying to figure out, am I in the right spot? And I wouldn't have thought that. I would have just thought, oh, just go up there, and stand up there. But people were meticulously trying to get in line, in behind the right number. So we got to the other room. You sat on the chair with your number, and then you picked up this card, and the card had your number on there, so that, in a little while, they're going to start asking you questions. And if you fit, or if it's basically you're saying yes to the question that they're asking you, you're going to hold that number up, and then they're going to ask you your name, and then they're going to know basically if you're a candidate to get picked for the jury if they kind of like you according to what they asked, or if you were basically like, we're not going to pick you because of the way you answered that question. So yeah, we get in there, and the first side that starts to ask you questions, or the first side that started to ask us questions, was the prosecutor's side. Hang on just a second, y'all. Okay, so the DA, or whatever his actual title is, but he's on the district attorney side. So he stood up first, introduced himself. Of course, they're talking to us and giving us directives along the way. But he was the first side to stand up and start telling us what was going to be what. And basically, his job is to let you know what the charge is for this defendant, and all about that charge. So he was there. There was a judge. Basically, the judge was sitting high, like in the judge box. And then so the prosecution was on one side. There was a judge in the middle, and then the attorney for the defendant and the defendant were over there on the other side of the judge. So, and I don't know because I've never been before, so I was a little surprised to see the defendant. So I was like, oh wow, okay, so that's the person that's going to be on trial. So the charge was manslaughter. The defendant was a man, and he had 2 charges of manslaughter. He had, so they don't tell you what he had done. They just, or what he's being accused of specifically. They just tell you what the charge is. And then they tell you, in this case, I don't know, can y'all hear that? That sounds a little loud to me. It's like a TV or a radio. So in this case, they wanted to make sure that we knew what that there's Murd, right? MURD. Try to make it YouTube appropriate. So they wanted to make sure that we knew what that charge was all about. Then manslaughter, which is what he was charged with, and then criminally negligent homicide. So the DA side went into a very long, I think he talked for an hour. He went into a long, drawn out discussion. He had his PowerPoint slides and everything to explain to us what these charges are all about. So I'm going to go ahead and tell y'all who the man was, from my understanding, and who was unalived. So this man's name was Michael Halla, Halla. And he's also an attorney, but he's a city attorney for, and he represents like several small towns in Texas, I guess, kind of like almost like a cluster of small towns as a city attorney. And then he was responsible for unaliving a 36-year-old man and his son. So what, and like I said, they haven't told us any of this. This is just what I found out after I left there, and after they told us that it was okay to talk about the case. At first, they didn't. He asked us, told us that we're not restricted from talking about the case, but he would like for us to not talk about the case on social media or anything until it was over. So So anyway, the unaliving event was that this family of 5 was walking across a FM road. And so if you're from a rural place or you drive through rural places, there's these farm to market roads, and they can be pretty busy. Um, the one that's by me, it used to be very, very slow. Now we've grown so much, it's hard to pull out and get onto the road. It's a good bit of traffic on that road at any given time, mostly in the mornings, of course, or in the evenings. But FM road can be pretty busy, or it can be very slow. It just depends on the population in the town. So he's he's driving down this road, and he hits basically half of the family. So the wife and the 2 daughters didn't get hit. He hits the husband and the baby boy of the family. And so he's, so this is he's the official charge is two counts of manslaughter. Um so we are listening to the prosecution side tell us what is MURD, and then what is manslaughter, what is criminally negligent homicide, and making these distinctions. So I'm gonna try to tell you quickly what the differences are. Um, it says for the first one, the first M, a person commits an offense if they intentionally or knowingly cause the death of an individual. 2, intend to cause serious bodily injury and commit an act clearly dangerous to human life that causes I already said death, or unaliving of an individual. 3, commit or attempt to commit a felony other than manslaughter, and in the course of and in furtherance of the commission or attempt, or in immediate flight from the commission or attempt. They commit they commit or attempt to commit an act clearly dangerous to human life that causes the unaliving of an individual. So that's MUR. Okay, so then it says that's the definition. The mental state is intentional or knowing. And the punishment range is, and this is all in Texas, the punishment range is felony of the first degree, punishable by imprisonment for life or any term of not more than 99 years or less than 5 years, and possible fine not to exceed $10,000. Okay, in the event of manslaughter, the definition is a person commits an offense if they recklessly cause the death of an individual. And that's what they kept stating about this man in the articles that I could find, was that he was driving recklessly. And I kept wondering, what is who determined that? And how did they determine that he was driving recklessly? Nobody ever said anything about any type of substance or alcohol. So I was just like, what is this reckless, condition that he was driving under? And then, like there's a whole group of 5 walking across the street, and like he didn't see them, I don't know, I guess he couldn't swerve. I don't know. But anyway, I did keep seeing this word recklessly in a couple of articles, 2 or 3 articles that I could find. So I was just trying to figure out, how did this happen? And then the mental state is reckless. And then the punishment range is felony of the second degree, punishable by imprisonment for any term. Let me bring this up for y'all. Bring it up. Let's see. Share, and I'm gonna answer that question about how fast was he driving. Just a second. Let me pick up this so y'all can see it. Okay, so let me go up a little bit. Okay, no, it happened in Ferris, Texas. I said what I said. And oh, good morning. Seniors need love too. Good morning. Thank you for stopping by. And then, okay, so with regard to reckless, so I finally found out that they said after an investigation that he was driving, it was either 93 miles an hour or 95. And that would definitely, I don't know how they found that out, because I don't remember seeing anything like he was being chased by the police, or there was any type of a police stop. He did stop after the incident. It wasn't a hit and run or anything, but the investigation found that he was going 93, I think it was 93 or 95. So maybe they figured that out from some camera footage they got from somewhere. I don't know, because they never did say how they knew that he was going that fast. But that would definitely be reckless. I mean, on a FM road, most of the time you're going no faster than 55, and sometimes it's 35 to 45. So, you know, I mean, I can't even imagine, because these roads are kind of winding, and yeah, there might not be too many people on them sometimes, but it's pretty much really dangerous for you yourself as the driver to go that fast on a highway, let alone a little road that has people's mailboxes and stuff like that. Just just right there sitting by the road. You got these ditches off to the sides. You got people's mailboxes and their fences, and sometimes barbed wire fences and stuff right there, not too far off the road. So I don't know what his state of mind was while he was traveling that fast like that, but that is why they deemed him as driving reckless. And then I also found out that I don't know that he went to jail that day. I feel like he was let go until an investigation could happen, because it's an accident, but at the same time, like, I'm walking across the street, or this woman, she's walking across the street with her husband and 3 children, and then all of a sudden this happens, and then she's just left there. And they said she was just like, they lived off of this road, so she was only like feet from her house. So after this incident, you're less one child and a husband, and if they didn't even take him to jail, that would be horrible. But it did sound like they said that they released him pending investigation. So yeah, let me see what y'all are saying. I thought people drove faster in the country since there's no traffic. Well, I mean, I guess that's the same thing he was thinking, but you're really only supposed to go, I'm going to say about 55 is normally the highest speed limit I see on these FM county roads. Then Sunshine said most people have door cameras. I wouldn't be surprised if that's how they got the speed. Oh, yeah, good looking out. Yep, that sounds about right. Because there are I'm not familiar with Ferris that much, but yes, if there's a lot of people that just live right there. I mean, it's just kind of like a living off of a semi busy street, and it, like I said, it might not even be busy depending on the population. So, and I think Ferris is. I have a DoorDash some food over there, so it's. I don't think it's very busy. They don't even really have that many fast foods over there. That's why they're always like ordering DoorDash. Let's see. Let's see. I was thinking that he probably was under the influence of something too. And if you do if you only do an alcohol test, or if you only look to see if somebody's drunk, and he was an attorney. And there's something else that I want to show y'all. Y'all know my or if you've heard me say this before, then I think this way. Like, how when people are handsome or beautiful or something, a lot of times they're getting away with things that people that everybody don't think this person is handsome or beautiful can't necessarily get away with. And I think a lot of people would think this man is very handsome. So I just wonder if, by the fact that he was an attorney and he's tall and upright and nice looking, I just wonder if they didn't really take him through the kind of like run him through the ringer that they would have taken somebody else through. Yeah, so, but yeah, maybe he wasn't drunk, but maybe he was high, and then I don't really know what they put a person through, or if you can just kind of, something like that happens, of course that's gonna mess up a high real quick. Or even sober you up real quick, and then you're able to just kind of function like, I was just going to work. I was a little distracted. They did say he was on his way to like a city council meeting or something like that. But yeah, so let me go back over here and finish with this. Okay, so manslaughter is reckless mental state. And then punishable range for manslaughter is felony of the second degree, punishable by imprisonment for any term of not more than 20 years or less than 2 years, and a possible fine not to exceed 10,000. So then there's criminally negligent homicide, which they also made sure that they really spelled out these things. They really went in deep. And this was on the prosecution side to make sure that everybody in the room knew exactly what these crimes were and how to judge for them. So with this one, the definition is a person commits an offense if they cause the death of an individual by criminal negligence. And the mental state here is criminal negligence. And then the penalty is state jail felony, punishable by confinement in a state jail for any term of not more than 2 years or less than 180 days, and a possible fine not to exceed $10,000. So they really kind of hammered in on this, the intentional part, the intention, and what was the other thing that they were talking about? How if it's a risk of something like harm or danger, or if you're unaware of the risk. So with recklessness, a person acts recklessly or is reckless with respect to the result of their conduct when they are aware but consciously disregard a substantial and unjustifiable risk that the result will occur. The risk must be of such a nature and degree that its disregard constitutes a gross deviation from the standard of care that an ordinary person would exercise under all the circumstances is viewed from the actor's standpoint. So this is where this reckless comes in, where they keep saying that, he was driving recklessly. And then criminal negligence. A person acts with criminal negligence or is criminally negligent with respect to the result of their conduct when they ought to be aware. So that's what it is. Reckless is you are definitely aware. Like, that you got a driver's license. The speed limit is 55 and you consciously disregard it and go 93 down this road. And then with criminal negligence, you ought to be aware of a substantial and unjustifiable risk that the result will occur. The risk must be of such a nature and degree that the failure to perceive it constitutes a gross deviation from the standard of care that an ordinary person would exercise under all the circumstances is viewed from the actor's standpoint. So basically, that's the part that they were hammering in on. It was, you are aware and then ought to be aware. You didn't know, but you should have, type thing. So from there, then it was a little break, and then it was like lunch, I think. Yeah. And we had like an hour and a half for lunch. They wanted to make sure that we had enough time to go somewhere, get some food, and come back. And then it was time to come back, and then it was time to hear the defendant's attorney. So he jumped right in with asking people questions about who already thinks that if a person is up here, my defendant is up here, who already thinks that he must have done something. He had to have done some part of something that he's charged with if he's up here. And he's like, I want you to raise your card. Don't feel bad about it. Don't feel any kind of way about it. Raise your card and let us know, because this is just the type of thing that we need to know. We need to know who it is, that thinks what. And it's fine, whatever you think, one way or the other. And you don't have to explain what you think, because they don't want people getting into whole discussions about what they think. So they really just wanted you to raise your card and let them know what type of state of mind you're in. They definitely asked if you knew this person. Like, do you know him? Do you know of him? Have you ever heard of anything about him or this case before? And I'm trying to remember if they had even told us his name at this point. We might not have even known his name. No, we did know his name. Yeah, for sure. So they wanted us to raise our card if we knew him or knew of him, knew anybody that knew him, heard anything about this case before. They're going to eliminate you based upon these things. So from what I could tell, they want people that, for this 12-man jury and like 3 alternates, they want people that have not heard about this case. They want people that don't think things like, oh, well, he had to have done something. I mean, why would he be up there if he hadn't done anything? Like, they want people that are very much going to listen to every detail and just do their best to judge by what they hear right then. They don't want you knowing anything about it beforehand. They asked all of us to please don't use your phones and devices to look up anything about this case on the lunch. They really want a completely unbiased jury that is not going to think anything like, oh, you know what, you probably had to have done something. And I was just thinking about it. It's such a hard, it really is kind of hard. Like when you think about you and am I going to be able to sit up there and really give this man his innocence? Like, because that's the whole thing. You are in that court of law. You are supposed to be, in the mind of that jury, innocent. You didn't do anything. You didn't do this. You didn't do anything. You're supposed to be innocent until this other side proves that until this prosecution. So you're innocent. You're sitting there as innocent. This is the state of mind you got to be in. This defendant is totally innocent, and this prosecution has to prove that he's guilty. The other part of it that, because I don't know, I don't work in the criminal justice system or anything like that. So this, you hear it, but you don't really think about it until you might actually have to be on that jury. Because if you're there and they call you your name, you're going to have to be on the jury. And so do I have the capacity to think this guy or woman, whoever it is completely innocent? In my mind anyway, like separated out. They're charged with this, but they're innocent. And then this prosecution has to prove that they did this crime, and he doesn't have to stand up for himself and prove anything because he's innocent. And I was like, oh wow, I just don't think I've thought about it like that before. Matter of fact, I know I haven't. I haven't. But if you're going to be on that jury, you have to be prepared to allow that person to be innocent until this prosecution proves that they are guilty. And I was like, it was kind of surreal or something, because I was just, how you're in school and they're explaining something to you and you get it. And I was like, oh, wow, I just hadn't really thought about it like that before. And because, we're just citizens and we have the luxury of listening to stuff and just being able to think, oh, yeah, they did that. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's messed up. They did that. But when you're in that jury and it's your job, you have to put yourself in the state of mind that I'm giving this person their innocence, even though they are coming out here in, shackle shuffles or whatever, which he was in a nice suit. Of course, he's out on bond. He's in a nice suit. He's got a nice haircut. He looks good. Let me go to his picture. All the things. Let me see. Where is his photo? So I'm pretty sure he's a great candidate to, how can I get to this? He is a great candidate for people to be able to think of him in a good light. But when you're part of that jury, you really do have to take on this state of mind that I am giving this person, I don't know, it's almost like just being in another, like you just have to take it to another level. I'm giving this person innocent, and this prosecution has to prove to me that they're guilty. They don't have to talk because they're innocent. They can talk if they want to, but in a sense, why would they do that? Because they're already innocent, right? We're all supposed to have ourselves in this state of mind that they're innocent. So they shouldn't have to talk for themselves. And they have an advocate. They have their attorney who's skilled at speaking for them. So you really don't want to necessarily put yourself in the crossfire, because you don't have to. The jury is supposed to be looking at you as innocent, and your lawyer is skilled to talk to the people on your behalf and to question the other side and all this stuff. So you really shouldn't have to say anything. And it's probably, if the jury is completely in the state of mind that they're supposed to be in, you really shouldn't have to speak for yourself. I'm telling you, that thing, just thinking of it like that, once they were explaining it all out to me, that gave me a whole other way of looking at the criminal justice system, which is great. I think it's just, I was like, wow, this is really asking a lot of people. Oh gosh, I'm trying to find this man. I have the picture, but I'm trying to figure out how to share the screen of where, because I downloaded the picture. So let me just go back over here and get this picture again where I can share it from. Let's see. Let me see, just a second here. Okay, so I'm gonna go back over here, stop sharing this. Okay, and then I'm gonna share. Okay, that's the man. What do y'all think? Is it easier or harder to look at him as innocent, knowing that he's an attorney for the city and all of that? Okay, so let's see. Sunshine said, I'm missing some of y'all's comments, but I'm gonna try to go from the bottom here and catch up. Let's see. Yep, I always have an excuse not to be a good candidate for jury duty. That's too much pressure for a person like me. I heard that because I think I just always didn't want to be there, because you just think, I don't want to be there, and I don't want to, I don't want that to fall on me. But if not us, the citizens, then who? So that's why I was like, I'm not gonna try to go in here. And funny story, my stepson had to go to jury duty maybe a month before me, and his dad was telling him, oh yeah, just when they start asking you those questions, just say, like, you think people are guilty, or you think he's guilty, or whatever. And sure enough, that definitely does get you. They're not even thinking about you anymore. If you say something like, yeah, I think that people up there, they had to have done something, I mean, that's just what I think, they're not even you're gonna get disqualified. Oh, I forgot to tell y'all that out of us 100 or so, maybe a little bit more than 100 people that were called into the room to be evaluated, pretty much to hear everything and to be evaluated, all the rest of the people got to leave. So I was sitting by these two men, and of course you're sitting there for so long, everybody kind of starts to chit chat. And one of the men, he was saying that he was just kind of hoping that that he didn't get picked, and that he would be evaluated in like this next round. And I didn't really know what he meant, because he's been on a jury before. So he was like, yeah, I'm just kind of hoping this next round I'll be eliminated. And sure enough, out of all three of us, they only called my number up there. And so I didn't find out till later, until we went to lunch, that all those people got to just leave. Because when we left out to go to lunch, all of those cars were just gone. And then when we came back, you could pretty much park right up by the door. So from the morning time, when you could barely find a parking spot, to right after lunch, you just came right on back. I parked right up by the door somewhere, and all of those people that didn't get their number called just were completely eliminated. So, so yeah, they call all those people, but I guess they have to have a very large pool, and then you have those two categories, where people don't qualify, where they take their exemption, then you're left with the rest of the people, which was still a whole lot of people. And then they only take back, I would say, it was just maybe a little bit more than 100 of us that got into that room. And then from there, they picked their 12. So I know one other thing that he asked us as a group and to hold up your card was so two things. If you're in the jury, you're leaning toward finding him guilty, would you have a problem with going with the lesser charge of criminally negligent homicide? So I was wondering, like, why are we looking at the higher level and the lower level when he's only being charged with this mid-level of manslaughter? But that was why, because they wanted us to understand that they weren't accusing him of the highest degree of this, taking somebody's life. And then they wanted us to understand, if it gets to the point to where you're leaning toward guilty, would you possibly consider giving him criminally negligent homicide? Could you see going down? And so people that couldn't see going down in the charge, and they would hold their card up and say, well, I mean, if this is what he's being charged with, this is it. This is all I'm willing to consider. Oh, you're canceled. You are definitely not going to be a part of that jury. Then they wanted to know, and this is all the defense attorney. So he's looking at the group, just like looking into our souls. I was like, my goodness, what is he going to see? So he's like, now, if you find him guilty and he's on trial and you find him guilty, could you consider giving him probation? Because I'm going to tell you, some people think, okay, we went through all this trouble to go to a trial. We went through all this trouble. And if we do a trial, I'm not giving you probation. And I was thinking, you know what? I agree with that, because I thought, and this is just how much I know, which is, I guess I don't know much, but I thought probation was for plea bargaining and misdemeanors and stuff like that. So I was like, what are we talking about probation for? This man is obviously, he didn't want to take any type of a plea bargain because he's opted in for a full trial. So why are you trying to ask everybody if they would be okay with considering probation for his, punishment phase or whatnot? And I did think that, you're pretty much supposed to get prison time if you are found guilty. So I ended up raising my card. But when I raised my card, I had a question, which he wasn't really asking anybody if they had any questions. But I really had a question at that point, because he had made, I didn't realize that there were 2 counts of manslaughter at first. They said his charge is manslaughter. And if they said that there were 2 counts, I missed it. So somewhere in him talking, he was like, now he's got these 2 counts of manslaughter. And I was like, what? There's more than one person? That blew me away. So I was like, hold on. What, I want to know what happened, but they're not telling us anything about the actual case. They're just telling you, what the charge is and everything. I'm going to big this up a little bit, try to, without losing his hairstyle. So yeah, they're not telling us anything. And then it was something that he said. I couldn't remember how he said it, but it was something that he said that sparked my interest. So after he was asking people about this probation, and he was going row by row. Row 1, would you consider giving this probation? Row 2, and I think I was on row 6. And a lot of times he wasn't even asking row 6 anything, because he would kind of stop at row 4, and he would say something like, well, what about all the other rows all the way to the back? So he wasn't really asking my row specifically. So I raised my card and I said, well, I just have a quick question. You said there's 2 charges of manslaughter. I said, did they happen on the same day at the same time? And when he said, well, I can't really answer that question. I can't really talk about that. And I was like, there's something going on. I was like, there's something real fishy going on here. Because why can't you just tell us if both of the manslaughters happened at the same day at the same time? I couldn't really understand why he didn't want to talk about that. And I still don't understand, other than the fact that since there were 2 people hit straight on the body, not on the not in a car or anything like that, maybe they passed away at different times. So I still didn't really understand what the big deal was in answering, did they happen at the same day at the same time? But by him not answering it, it just kind of made me feel like, what was he on, some kind of spree where he went to 2 separate people's house? Or I think it would have been better if he just answered the question, because then my mind was just like, what happened? How could this have happened? And he doesn't want to answer the question, so it must mean that it didn't happen on the same day at the same time. So that's pretty much when I knew that I probably wouldn't get picked, because it seemed like anybody that talked, that asked any type of little question or held their card up for any reason, you're eliminated. Like, if you're not just going with the flow, then you're pretty much eliminated. Let's see. Sunshine said he looks like a trumpeter. Oh yeah, here in this red state of Texas, I'm sure that he probably is. Let's see. And Zen Soul said, first thought is he has had previous DUIs. That is, and if you saw him in person, so this picture, you know how most people have the nicest profile picture that they can get. And so in this picture, he's definitely a little younger than he is now. He's definitely the same person though, but now he's a little slimmer. So I was just thinking that he probably has worried, and whatever he does do and whatever he's into, he's a little slimmer than this. This looks like a nice, youthful, even though he's got gray and everything, he's a little older now, or he appears to be a little bit older, and he appears to be a little bit slimmer right now. But still very light. Because I was even wondering when we were in there, I was like, now, what does he do? Because he looked like one of the attorneys, and of course turned out he is an actual attorney, but he was just so straight up and down, straight laced. He was holding his eyes kind of puppy dog-ish, like I just felt like he knows how to work a crowd. It just felt like that. Even as I was sitting there, I just felt like he was kind of working the folk. And his attorney was just looking at everybody, just looking like he was some type of hawk, or looking for prey or something. I was like, my God, what is he looking for? But turns out that he or they picked a good jury for his side, because even though he was found guilty, they found him guilty of the lesser charge of criminally negligent homicide. And then once I found out about the family, I was like, yeah, um, most people are, you hit them with your car. Most people are gonna be able to find you guilty, especially a young man. It was like a baby boy, maybe like 3 years old. I should have brought the picture up. I'll see if I can find them. But they definitely found him guilty of the lesser charge. And one article says that they gave him a 5-year sentence, but it was suspended. So he's got 10 years of probation. I did not see it on his paperwork that he even had a 5-year prison sentence that's suspended. His paperwork says a 10-year probation. He doesn't even have any community service. He does have a long list of basically what looks like what's on anybody's probation, but some things may be specific to him, like drive safely and stuff like that. Other than the 10-year probation, he really just has to pay $100 a month. It might be $200 a month because he's got 2 sets of paperwork for the 2 charges. But if they ran everything kind of concurrently, it's going to be just 10 years and just the $100 a month. And, he has to report. It looks like a basic. He doesn't even have any community service. And he also has a $5,000 fine that's also suspended. So it looks like he won't have to pay the fine if he successfully completes his probation. He doesn't have any community service, which that seemed to me like that would just be kind of normal, to give him some community service so he can kind of connect and, further feel, what he's taken from this family. Let me see if I can find. Yeah, there was a. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna search and see if I can locate the. Nope, can't do it through there. But yeah. The terms of the probation, not 10 years is a long time. I will say that. Let's see. Oh yeah, post the link to her channel. Yes, I will, Sunshine. And then 10 years probation. Nope. Let me show y'all these conditions, because I was like, where is all of his, community service? I just think that's just pretty much a given, like a probation fine, but they didn't think so. Let me see. Let me share with y'all the paperwork. So this is cause number 49 465. And then there's a cause number 49466CR that they look the same. And I don't think they give you this time stacked. I'm pretty sure it is it's a concurrent, 10-year probation. So he's got the 10 years of community supervision. Let's see. Number 1, commit no offense against the laws of this or any other state of the United States. Further, report to your community supervision officer within 48 hours if arrested or questioned by any law enforcement officer. Okay, then of course, avoid injurious or vicious habits. Abstain from use of alcoholic beverage and any product containing alcohol, and do not use any illegal drug or controlled substance. So he's going to definitely be, have drug tests and maybe even alcohol tests when he goes for his, to report to probation. This basically looks like the standard, like a standard type of probation order, maybe. Work, remain in this county unless authorized to leave, support your dependents if you have any or if you get any. It says pay a reimbursement fee of $60 per month, but there's another one that says $100. So maybe he's got to pay $160 per month. He's got to do his court costs of $290. See where it says fine of $5,000 suspended by jury. So he looks like he doesn't even have to pay that unless he goes against his probation and whatnot. In the amount of $100 per month beginning in the month next following. So there's a 60 and then there's a 100 that he's got to pay. Okay, see right here on 14, perform community service work, blank hours. They didn't give him any community service hours to do. And no days of detainment. Standard curfew, observe a curfew, be home and remain home each night from 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. Within 30 minutes of nighttime employment, whichever is latter or later. So I guess he's not supposed to go to any all-night parties. Let's see. He does have to do a driver's safety course. But this seems, and here's the next one. So this is for the other case, 466CR. So it has the same fees on here. So I don't know if he's got to pay this for each case. But they definitely took off the court costs on here. So he only has to do the $290 court costs. And again, this $5,000 fine is suspended unless he gets in trouble. No community service, driver safety course. And that's it. Pretty standard. Only thing is, of course, 10 years is a long time, but you don't have to do any jail time for taking this 36-year-old man and 3-year-old, believe it was a 3-year-old boy. And then they did say criminally negligent homicide, which is the lowest level felony. And yeah, that's what he got. Let's see, I'll stop sharing this. and look at y'all's comments. Yeah, it's really awful for that's what I was thinking too. I did see probably what I'll do is post it on community. Because I do have to get out of here in a minute. But the family, I did see like a little I guess it was a news it was like a news story of the wife, and she's got two daughters, and she said that her husband was her high school sweetheart. They were wanting to move out of Ferris, so seems like they're just from there, wanting to get out of the small town eventually, but they, that's where they were for right now, and they were, growing and raising their family, just going along, lovingly. They had been across the street, across that road at the school, I believe, playing basketball. So just basically taking their kids out for a day to play at the school park or the basketball court. It was just, right across the road. And they walked over there, and they were walking back home in the evening, and that's what happened. So I know she probably thinks, wow, that is nothing, you know. Um and so yeah, it would have been, I mean, having to hear that unfold, that I'm just saying right now, I'm glad I didn't get picked, because that would have, that would have been really, really hard for me to be very light. I don't know like all of what he said, but basically they took away the reckless. So when they convicted him of criminally negligent, the whole reckless thing went away. So now you're not even agreeing that he was going 93 and 95 or whatever, because that's the part that made it reckless. And my son is are you getting restless? Okay, give me a few more minutes. I'm wrapping it up. But yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of saying like, it was just a oopsie, and it was just an accident, and yeah, give me the least thing possible. So I'm glad I wasn't there. I mean, or maybe, somebody with a little bit more oomph or something should have been there to push back on that, because the whole probation thing, like I was saying, I felt some type of way about that even when he was saying it. So I'm like, that really does feel to me like something he could have probably taken in a plea bargain. But because he's a lawyer and probably was trying to save his law license, is probably the reason why he wanted to just go the full extent and try to see if he could get not guilty. But giving him this like super low charge, and giving him probation after a jury trial, like all of it seems like it's something wrong with that. I guess it's not, because it is allowable and admissible within the court system. But yeah, it just seems like they did him such a huge favor, and meanwhile you got a whole family over there that's down a husband and a baby in such a like a brutal way. So yeah. Let's see. Sunshine said the civil suit question is something Sidehand probably can answer for us. Wait a minute. It's a civil suit probably, but I'm not sure how Texas works. Yeah, she could probably sue him. And that's probably a good idea now that they did find him criminally negligent. on the legal side. So that is probably a good idea. I just don't know. If she'll be able to. Maybe someone else can come along and help her to get that accomplished, but I don't know. But yeah, I'll try to post the family on my community, on the community wall, because let me just check this one other little place. Because sorry, y'all. Because I know I just saw a clip. Man, and the winner is YouTube. Every time. Okay, hold on. This is the family. Let me pull this up real quick. Share that. Okay. So here is let me turn this volume down a little bit. Okay.
There is new information tonight in the deadly crash that killed a father and son in 2021. The driver stayed on the scene. Why it took more than a year to make an arrest. Good evening. I'm Clarice Tinsley. First at 5:30, Michael Hala was arrested and charged late last week with 2 counts of manslaughter from an auto pedestrian accident in Ferris, south of Dallas on I-45 in 2021. 14 months ago. He contracted with Ferris and other smaller communities to do city attorney work. Fox 4 Sean Rabb live in Ferris, where the council has taken action concerning Hala's employment. And Sean, do you know why this investigation has taken so long?
Well, Clarice, I can tell you that the Department of Public Safety took over the investigation. There were many search warrants pertaining to Michael Hala's vehicle, as well as his cell phone, the hardware, and his cell service provider. When all of that information came back, troopers made the decision to charge him with manslaughter for the death of a 36-year-old man and his 5-year-old son. And that's when the city of Ferris decided for now to sever their relationship with Michael Hala.
We've got our citizens that are directly impacted, but we believed that with him being charged, it was the right decision to suspend services pending the outcome of this legal process.
Let the record show that in a special called meeting, Ferris City Council unanimously agrees to indefinitely suspend its contract with Michael Hala, who served in the capacity as city attorney. Hala was arrested and charged with 2 counts of manslaughter for hitting and killing father and son, Edward and Ethan Beltran, November 2021, as the Beltran family walked home from playing basketball at a school across FM 664 from their neighborhood. That was 14 months ago.
I was one of the first on scene for the accident itself. It was tragic. The family's lives will never be the same, and we're sorry for them. Beyond that, I made a decision as the city manager, along with our police chief at that time, that we would not investigate that accident.
The Department of Public Safety took over the investigation, filing multiple search warrants, generating pages and pages of documents that reveal the accident happened at 6:05 p.m. November 2021. Hala was late for the 6 o'clock Ferris City Council meeting. Information from search warrants show Hala was driving at a dangerously high speed, 102 miles per hour, 4.8 seconds before the incident. His 2020 Explorer traveling 93 miles per hour at the time of impact. And documents say Hala was in possession of a cell phone when the crash happened. Hala was arrested last week, posting bond on the 2 counts of manslaughter. He has not been indicted.
We do believe there is a difference between being charged and guilty. And so rather than completely sever all ties forever, we believe suspending indefinitely was the right thing to allow the legal process to take place.
Ferris has been criticized on social media because of how long it's taken from the accident to charges and arrest.
I would actually challenge that and say this is proof of a transparent government that's doing the right thing. And it took 14 months because an investigation was done properly. And further, it was done properly because we removed ourselves from that investigation.
Now, I can tell you that drugs and alcohol, not any part of this horrific accident. High speed, dangerously high speed, and distracted driving, cell phone, either talking or texting, the facts to this sad, sad story. We did hear from one other city today where Michael Holla contracted. That was Wilmer. They've not yet made any decisions about his status. Say they will make a decision by their council meeting January 19th.
Sean Rayab reporting live. Thank you.
You'll also see no physical evidence tying Raymond Childs III to those weapons.
Okay, so there you have it. Yeah, that was uncalled for. Because, you know, I can understand like taking the time to get all of the information, which is a good thing. They did do all that investigating. I didn't even notice that they said he was traveling 102. So, but then I guess when he hit his brakes, he only slowed down to 93. That's just a shame. Just a shame. Yeah. So he's late for his meeting, driving 100. Now that looks like one of the busier FM roads that I come in contact with anyway, but I don't really go to Ferris very often. I think I've only been there 2 or 3 times just for whenever, like I'll go out and let my son DoorDash to, you know, have a little job because he's 15 and he can't, there's really, you know, nobody that's willing to hire him at this point. So I'll DoorDash and I'll let him do the driving, with, you know, under his permit and everything. So that's how we've been to Ferris a couple times. But yeah, I don't really know about Ferris. But if that was the FM road, that seems like a really busy FM road where you can pick up some speed. But most of the ones that I travel on are like 2-way, you know, one way going one direction and one way coming the other direction. That looked like at least 2 lanes on each side. So, but it's still just terrible. And I mean, 100 miles an hour, that's just so fast, even for the expressway, let alone on a road, you know. So that the only part I think was good was that they were able to get all that information and know that he was driving reckless. But, you know, I'm going to have to, I don't know what came out in the trial, but them taking away the manslaughter so he could get criminally negligent, which now looks like he wasn't even doing the reckless part. I don't know how they came up with that. But yeah, so that's the man and his baby boy, 5-year-old Ethan, or the 5-year-old. I'm not sure if Ethan was the man or the boy. But yeah, so anyway, let me see if that was all I wrote down my little points. I think I hit them all, or I touched on all the points. Don't even want to say hit them now. Yeah, I pretty much touched on all these points. So I want to thank y'all so much for stopping by today. And let's just go over here real quick. I keep saying let's just do this real quick. I'm gonna go to I said what I said. And okay, let's share the screen with y'all to our good sis. Sometimes when I'm live, I feel like I said what I said. Wait a minute. Yeah, sometimes when I'm live, I have felt like I said what I said was my co-host. So I said what I said. I know is going to have just a extremely popping and successful channel. Let me go back over here. Is this it? I said what I said? I don't think this is it, y'all. No, this is 38.5 subscribers. I did not see 38.5 subscribers. Okay, I'm sorry. Never mind. Disregard this. Disregard this channel. I've never heard of this I said what I said channel. Hold on. Well, I'm glad I didn't just put that in the link. Okay, so I said what I said pod. That's not it. Let me look further. All I see is I said what I said podcast. I said what I said. Are you still here? Yeah, because I know that I was like, wait a minute, that's a whole lot of subscribers. I was looking for what the subscriber count had gotten up to, and I'm like, hold on. I said what I said. Can you put it in the chat the way that, is it with that underscore? Maybe that's what I'm leaving off. I underscore. And so many of that other channel, I'm not seeing it. Let me see. I said what I underscore said. Okay, so let me go and we're gonna get this correct. Hold on. It must be because, let me look at my history. Because I was on my phone and now I'm on this desktop. I wonder if it'll give me the same history. There we go. Oh, buckwheat. Okay, here we go. Share the screen. Go in a little bit.
So by the time we start listening to,
Okay. I'm there. Okay, this everybody. I'm so sorry I said what I said. I apologize. This is I Said What I Said's channel, and this was last night's live stream. So there, let me make the chat part, make this bigger. And there you can see the you can see she has this oh, that's a pretty purple couch. She has the beautiful purple couch right there. So, and yeah, you do get there with I said what I space underscore said. That's how you get there. So please go over and subscribe to her channel. And then I'll also get in my, I guess, link it in my comments. Let me see if I can put it right here. But yeah, I wish I would have gotten over there sooner. It was a good time. Underscore see it. Let's see, put the link. Let's see, share. Is that how to do it? Share. Oh, I got to do it on this other page. Share, copy. Do that. And then I'll do the link. Okay. All right. So there's the way that the channel looks. And then there's the link to the channel. And so we're going to be over there too, having a good time talking. And carrying on about whatever she is talking and carrying on about on any given day. So, okay, y'all, I want to thank y'all so much for coming and letting me tell my jury duty story. It was enlightening. It really was. And that's when I realized, like, you know what? We talk about these cases, but there are so many people in, you know, any given city, town, county. Like, there's so many people that do not come in contact with all of this, even social media, as, you know, vast as it is. There's so many people that don't come in contact with the information that's out here, that will, you know, just go in and hear, you know, hear out both sides, do their best as a human being to try to put their state of mind in the place of looking at this person as innocent until this other side proves that they are guilty. And so, you know, yeah, we may talk, we may have our opinions, we say whatever we want to say, but unless they call you to be on that jury, like, you really don't have a say so. You really don't have a say so. You may not be having one bit of impact on what a jury is gonna come up with, and what they're gonna ultimately decide for that person. So anyway, that is the country. That is our criminal justice system. It looks like it, you know, works for some people, and some people, you know, get the bad side of it. Some people, you know, get the upside. I will say they only picked one black juror, and he was a man that looked to be maybe late 60s, early 70s. They lean toward an older jury rather than a younger jury. So yeah, that's what they did, and that's how it turned out. So okay, let me stop sharing. And once again, I want to thank everybody for stopping by, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.